On this episode of the podcast, we take a look at the movie Skyscraper, written and directed by Rawson Marshall Thurber, starring Dwayne Johnson and Neve Campbell. Welcome to He Said, She Said Movie Reviews. This is the podcast where a happily married couple with different opinions takes a quick look at the movies, helping you make the right decision before watching your next movie. I'm your host, Tim.
And I'm April.
If you want to know whether you should scrape Skyscraper or not, stay tuned after these previews.
The first preview we saw tonight was First Man. It's a look at the life of the astronaut Neil Armstrong and the legendary space mission that led him to become the first man to walk on the moon on July 20th, 1969. It stars Ryan Gosling and Claire Foy. What do I think about this trailer? I think that Hollywood has added a lot of drama to this amazing man's life and the whole experience of walking on the moon. I love Ryan Gosling. I'm sure I'll see it. It is just an interesting take on everything.
The second trailer we saw was for the movie Mortal Engines. This is based off of Philip Reeve's book of the same name. Many years after the 60-minute war, cities survive a now desolate Earth by moving around on giant wheels, attacking and devouring smaller towns to replenish their resources. This stars Hugo Weaving, Robert Sheehan, who we saw in Bad Samaritan, and Frankie Adams. This one looks interesting. It's going to be, it's a lot of special effects, a lot of eye candy. Looking forward to seeing this. So, the movie we saw this week was Skyscraper. It's a story about a father who goes to great lengths to save his family from a burning skyscraper in Hong Kong.
It was directed by Rawson Marshall Thurber. I don't know if y'all remember, but he did We're the Millers and Dodgeball. He also was the writer. He did, and again, Dodgeball, but also Central Intelligence,
which starred The Rock and Kevin Hart. This movie starred Dwayne Johnson, Neve Campbell, Noah Taylor, McKenna Roberts, Kevin Rankin, and Roland Møller. This movie, carries a central theme about whether or not, it's a family first type of movie. A father goes to great extremes against his own safety to save his family from a burning building and from terrorists. To me, this movie is kind of like if the Towering Inferno got together with Die Hard and had illegitimate love child. This movie was it.
Okay, that's funny. There were four of us that went to this movie. Sometimes, of course, our daughter comes and often she brings friends. 3 out of 4 of us did not care for this movie. I want to say that, in my opinion, as an action movie, it was a little slow. Also, it was overacted. I mean, I love The Rock. Anyone that knows me knows that. And he always does a great job.
So one of the bright spots I thought in the movie was Neve Campbell playing as Sarah Sawyer, The Rock's wife. I thought she did a great job. I wish they would have given us more background on her and filled in her character a little bit more.
Yeah, it was good to see her back. Obviously, I was a huge Party of Five fan. She's been out of the scene for a couple years. Love that she's back. I did love how they met in the movie. Their 2 kids are adorable. She's a surgeon, but it was, I did.
Massive karate skills.
Yeah, I mean, that whole thing. And then there was a woman. Who was the woman assassin?
Yeah, I'm not sure who played her. She's nobody I've seen before. So
yeah, some unrealistic things with that. Just, I don't know. It just added to the fact that, I don't know. I think it took away from the movie. It didn't add to it.
I thought the little girl who played their daughter, McKenna Roberts, I thought she did a great job.
Yes.
But one of the things that bothered me, and this goes back to the direction of the movie and stuff, the 2 kids were twins, boy and the girl. And for me, the girl felt very mature and very, very responsible and adult-like. And the boy seemed, they didn't seem like they were the same age. I guess that's where I'm going with that. The acting was not there for both of them.
Yeah, that was a kind of an interesting, interesting choices they made in that movie. But again, a lot of characters to make this movie, and they weren't well developed.
Yeah, and the same thing with the Hong Kong police. I thought they focused on a couple of those two characters, and those two were very flat characters, didn't get any depth from them, but yet they were important characters to the movie and carried important roles. So who knows?
But the supporting characters just didn't add much.
No, they were flat. The supporting characters were flat. You got no sense of background to anybody in this movie. You really never got a sense of why the terrorists were attacking the building.
Yeah, I mean, and with such vengeance. It was just... Now, the cinematography, let me just tell you right now, they did a great job. You believed it. You believed they were off the ground. The action scenes weren't choppy. There was no camera wiggling. I mean, that part of it was great.
Oh, absolutely. I thought the scenes that gave you a sense of how tall the building was, I got vertigo just from those scenes. You know, my chest tightened up and I thought, you know, oh God, I'm going to fall type of stuff. So the cinematography, I thought they did a good job. And I thought the special effects with the fire, you believed that the building was burning. Absolutely.
But the acting and the plot, I have to say that this movie was not for me.
No, it wasn't for me either. One of the worst parts for me was the dialogue in this movie. For somebody who wrote We're the Millers and Dodgeball, I mean, those were two great movies in my mind. Okay, but the dialogue in this movie, I just looking at my notes, I wrote poop sandwich.
And remember, if he said bro one more time, it reminded me of a corny line actually a couple times in Backdraft with Kurt Russell. But also too, we've said this before, but when we go and review a movie, if I'm sitting there and I'm asking Tim how much more, or my mind is starting to go to other places, not a good sign. And this movie I'm telling you, I can't get the time back that I sat there.
Yeah, I picked up my cell phone multiple times during this movie and looked at the time going, okay, how much longer do we got? How much longer do we got? It got really slow in the middle. The opening scenes, I thought, you know, it's like, oh, okay, this looks like it might be pretty good. It's what I expected. It's an action movie. Listen, when I go see these kind of movies, I'm not expecting an Academy Award type of movie, but, you know, as April was just saying, it has to grab your attention. You have to feel like you have to suspend belief, and you have to sit there and not be thinking about stuff you have to do.
And I will say it picked up in the end. In my opinion, it just started out so slow, and then it picked up in the end. But by then, it was a little late. So anyway, Tim, how would you review this movie?
For me, this is going to get 2.5 stars. If you want to see it, you know, if you're a fan of The Rock, go ahead and watch it, but I'd wait for it to be streamed on HBO or Showtime or whatever it's going to end up on.
All right, and I would give it a definite 2. I just maybe I had too high of expectations. But anyway, that is our how we reviewed Skyscraper. I want to thank everyone once again for all your support. We've had a lot of requests. We've been invited to several film festivals. We're very excited. We have one coming up very soon. And I just want to thank you for all your support, and we hope to see you at the movies.
Yeah, and if you haven't gotten a chance to, please go out to hesaidshesAidmovies.com/subscribe and subscribe to the podcast so you can make sure you miss movies like Skyscraper. Thanks for listening. We'll see you at the movies.